So this is the U-try, which we may or may not have gotten to in your class, but I'm going to do it here just so you have another example of subtracting rational expressions. So the first step, as always, is to factor the denominators. And again, we need to look at this as this first denominator, even though it starts with 3x squared, is not really that kind of quadratic that we need to use the long process to factor. Because in fact, 3 is a factor of all those numbers. So greatest common factor factoring will simplify this. -2 divided by 3 times x squared plus 12x plus, and 105 divided by 3 is 35. If you don't believe me, put in your calculator. And I'm just going to take a step here, so I'm going to rewrite this as it is, even though I could factor it. 3x, 6x plus 30. Okay, now what's in the parentheses here is the simple quadratic, because the coefficient of x squared is 1. So it's an easier factoring problem. What two numbers, the product is 35 and the sum is 12, 5, and 7. So let's factor these denominators. -2 divided by 3 times x plus 5 times x plus 7. All right, minus, I'm going to leave myself some space because I'm probably going to have to multiply, minus 3x times 6 times x plus 5. And I was wrong there. Equals, in fact, if I need to add some space for multiplying, it's actually only with the second fraction, which I can see that coming. Okay, the least common denominator will have every factor that we see in both of these denominators. You know, one thing that I didn't do, which I could have done, which is we could have factored the 6. Since we see we've got a 3 and we've got a 6, let's do that too. Let's make this like we did on the numbers only problem at the beginning. We'll break it down into its prime factors. 2 times 3. Okay, now the factors from the first denominator will be 3 times x plus 5 times x plus 7. The second denominator is 2, and I think that's about all it contributes that wasn't already there. So there's our least common denominator. Okay, now we need to multiply this first fraction. What do we need to multiply so that it has the common denominator? Well, it's only missing this 2 in this denominator. So let's multiply times 2 over 2. And this fraction is missing the x plus 7, right? There's an x plus 7 here, but there's no x plus 7 here. So let's multiply by x plus 7 over x plus 7. Okay, now they have the same denominators, even though the multiplication is in a different order. It's all the same denominator. And we need to simplify, subtract and simplify the numerators. So this is -4. And because I'm being careful about subtraction, because this is where we make our mistakes, I'm going to have to put in parentheses after the subtraction 3x squared. And then 3x times 7 is plus 21x. All right, next step. Simplify the numerator. This will be -4 minus 3x squared minus 21x divided by 6 times x plus 5 times x plus 7. And I wouldn't leave the numerator like that. I would put it in standard form. So leading term will be negative 3x squared minus 21x minus 4 divided by 6 times x plus 5 times x plus 7. And that's done.